So here we go. All right, Boker Tov, everyone. Thanks for being here as always. Um, uh, we are in the midst of learning about Birkat Hamazon. So let's say our bracha together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav b'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. It'll be visible in a moment. There we go. And I'm going to enlarge this so that we are in one place. We have been steadily working through this for a while. We've looked at the introduction. I think we looked at the introductory psalm from Psalm 130, 126. I'm in this ongoing fight with a Muslim leader who would like to believe that the only connection that Jews have to the land is European settler colonialism. And all you got to do is look at Psalm 126, and you'll find very clearly that we were, utilizing the temple. It's Shir HaMa'alot. Well, what steps are we going up? We're going up the steps to the Beit HaMikdash. And many of you have been to the southern excavations and have seen the western wall or the southern wall of the old city, the old city of the Temple Mount, that is, and understand. So that's how we introduce it. We looked at the Zimun, that is the listing of what we call an invitation or a welcome to reciting these prayers. We discussed that the first of the four principal paragraphs was attributed to Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses in Brachot, and it's for sustenance, that is for the food. We talked about how the second paragraph extends this to Joshua and his focus on the land. And that's where we see this line that says, when you have eaten your fill, give thanks to God for the good land which God has given you, that there's a connection not only to the food, but also to the land itself. So that's why the second paragraph focuses on the land, whereas the first one, as you saw, is for the food itself. So the food, the land. We talked about the third paragraph, which hones in on specifically Jerusalem and continues this spirit of focusing on all the ways in which God provides for us. And we talked about the idea that it was co-authored, first part of it by David, another part by Solomon, according to the tradition. This is in Brachot, the very first tractate of the Talmud, where all sorts of prayers are located. And then we also discussed that on Shabbat, I think we discussed this last time. Did we discuss it? Now I'm beginning to not remember whether we actually discussed the idea of Shabbat being Me'ein Olam Haba, a taste of the world to come, and why this is related to this paragraph on Jerusalem. I'm pretty sure we did.
Yes, I
Yeah,
We did last week.
Great and fully, and then something about
and
no
Ritzay.
no tsuris on Shabbat.
Right. V'na'al tatzricheinu. Oh no, that was in the previous paragraph. But yeah, right. No tzara, right. Sarah is tsuris. Right. Shelo tehei tzara ve'agom ve'anacha be'yom menuchatenu is what it says. That there not be sorrow, or another word for sorrow, or sighing on the day of our rest. That is a prayerful sentiment. And we talked about God as being Baal HaYeshuot U'Baal HaNechamot, the master of salvation and also the master of consoling or comfort. We are going to skip the Rosh Chodesh editions. These are basically the same as Rosh Chodesh editions that we've done at other times. Oh, did we talk? I don't think we talked about this, though. Uvenei Yerushalayim. which makes its way into reform versions of Birkat Hamazon, whether you are a traditionalist or you are a liberal Jew who says Birkat Hamazon, this is always in there, and it's a little ditty that goes Uvnei Yerushalayim Ir HaKodesh B'mehera v'yameinu Baruch Atah Adonai Boneh v'rachamav Yerushalayim Amen. So again, it's a return to the third paragraph and focuses on rebuilding Jerusalem. That is the Jerusalem of the future. Worth noting, because this is a class about prayer, that each of our prayers ends with what we call a chatima. A chatima is essentially a Baruch Atah formula that closes out the prayer. So prayers sometimes begin with it and don't end with it. I'm sorry, prayers sometimes begin with the Baruch Atah formula, but often don't. If we go back up and take a look at what we've done before this, the first prayer starts with the Baruch Atah formula and ends with the Baruch Atah formula. The second prayer does not begin with a Baruch Atah formula, right? But it ends with the Baruch Atah formula. That ending is called a chatima, or a seal, as in it seals the deal. It seals the prayer. The third paragraph, which we're doing right now, does not begin with that formula of Baruch Atah, but it ends way down here with the Baruch Atah. That's how you know that this is a blessing, because it's ending with what we call a chatima. Chatima is the same word we say on Yom Kippur. We say, Gemar Chatima Tova, may you be sealed for a year of good life, right? Sealed, as in sealed in the book. Sealed also, I think, the book of life, that is. Sealed also in the sense that if you think of blessings as being sent, statements to God, then it's like you've written it. You've sealed this prayer up. You've completed the act of prayer. It may also relate to the idea of putting the seal on the imprimatur, to use the English fancy word, on some idea, right? So we're sealing the deal. We're putting our imprimatur, which is literally the signet of a king who presses on the document and says, "This is my official decree. My name is so and so, and I affirm this statement," or whatever it is. So that's how we end it, with this third paragraph. Baruch atah Hashem, blessed are you, God, boneh barachamav Yerushalayim, who builds with his kindness or his compassion Jerusalem. And that's said right after what we're asking God. We're appealing to God. We say, Uvnei Yerushalayim, build Jerusalem, and build Jerusalem. City, holy city, speedily in our days. In fact, I'm going to change my translation in real time here. I'm going to change this to God and God rebuild Jerusalem, which is probably more accurate translation, right? B'nai. And there's many melodies. I just sang one. Another one is, this is a Carlbach melody. Uvnei Yerushalayim, Uvnei Yerushalayim, Ir HaKodesh B'mehera. Uvnei Yerushalayim, Uvnei Yerushalayim, Ir HaKodesh B'mehera. And then there's a part two, B'mehera v'yameinu, but I actually don't remember it well enough. So anyway, that is concluding the third paragraph. Let's look at the fourth. We're finally there. The Talmud says that this was written by, as it says in my little quote here, this was said to have been written by Rabban Gamliel the Elder in Yavne, which means it's right after the destruction of the temple. That would make it around 80 CE, in gratitude for the fact that after the Beitar massacre, in which thousands of Jews died, God allowed their bodies to remain intact for proper burial. Okay, and that is the great plague that we hear about when we study Sfirat Omer. Okay, we learn about how on Lag BaOmer there was a relief from the plague. The plague. So okay, I think I'm conflating things actually. The Beitar massacre is connected. You know what? I'm going to have to read up about this because the plague is actually later. That's the Bar Kokhba rebellion. So we're going to have to read up. Beitar, though, is the name of the political party that people like Netanyahu ultimately or originally came from. Beitar that becomes Cheirut, and I think there's a team in Israel called Beitar. Anyway. So that's the context. So we're going to celebrate the goodness that comes out. So this is really a next level expression. Yeah, Pamela.
I think what this is referring to is when Beitar happens and the people in Beitar are massacred, then it takes them a while to be able to go in to recover the bodies to bury. And when they
Correct.
go in, they're miraculously still okay. They're not all degraded.
Right. They did not decompose. Correct. Yes, that's right. Thank you, Pamela. Beitar is also the name of the Jerusalem football team. Beitar. So it's kind of got a strong Zionistic overtone. Soccer. Oh yeah, sorry. What did I say? Did I say baseball?
You said football.
Which is soccer. Football
Which
is
is
soccer.
soccer. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. But
yeah.
no, this.
No, Americans will call it soccer, but everybody else calls it football. You know.
Football.
All right. Anyway, let's take a look at the prayer itself. It's actually kind of interesting. Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam. So we have that beginning that I said sometimes appears and sometimes doesn't. Ha'el Avinu Malkeinu Adirenu. The God, our Father, our King, right? Avinu Malkeinu Adirenu, our Mighty One, or something along those lines. Borenu, our Creator. Goalenu, our Redeemer. Yotzrenu, here, you know what? I'll use the annotate function. Yotzrenu, our Fashioner. Kadoshenu, our Holy One, our Holy Maker. Kadosh Yaakov, the Holy One of Jacob. Roenu, our Shepherd. Roe Yisrael, who is the shepherd of Israel. So it's interesting. You have Kadoshenu, Kadosh Yaakov, Roenu, Roe Yisrael. You know, because I sing this, I don't always look at the literary aspect of it, but that's pretty interesting. There is a pattern there. And then after that, Hamelach Hatov Hametiv Lakol, the ruler who is good and who makes better everything, makes everything better, or causes goodness for all, is probably a better translation. Shebechol yom vayom, that each and every day, who hativ, who metiv, who yetiv lanu, he will make goodness. He is making goodness or betterment. He will make things better. Yeah, that's probably the better way to say it. He will make things better. He makes things better. Oh, I'm sorry. He made things better. He past tense, present, future. I'm getting it wrong. Sorry, Avital.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you. He made things better. He is making things better, and he will make better for us. And then similarly, he bestowed upon us He bestows upon us, and he will bestow upon us forever. Now, both of these lines should remind you of other contexts like this. In fact, it just came up. Were we talking about it on Friday night? Hu haya v'hu hoveh v'hu yihiyeh b'tifara. God in Adon Olam, God was, God is, and God will forever be. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. God rules, God did rule. So it's a different order, and God will rule forever and ever. So you have this idea of God's beneficence in the world as being eternal, but also continuous, past, present, and future. God improves, God improved, God improves, and God will improve. God bestowed, God bestows, and God will bestow forever. Lechen ulchesed ulrachamim, for will show us, will bestow kindness, and another form of kindness. Or so you could say grace and kindness and mercy. Ulrevach, and abundance. We have that, right? Lerevach, I think, would be abundance. Hatzalah v'hatzlacha, savings, the act of saving and success. Bracha v'shua v'nechama, blessing and salvation and consoling. Parnasah v'chalkala, so these are all kind of words saying the same thing. Parnasah, like how do we translate parnasah? Your parnasah is your salary, it's your earnings. Yeah. The chalkala, which is like your economics, are kind of similar words. V'rachamim, v'chaim, v'shalom, v'chol tov. And compassion and life and peace and all that is good. Umikol tuv leolam al yechasrenu. And for all of the goodness eternally, may there not be lacking. So let's just kind of go through let's count how many things God is going to bestow upon us. Lechen, ul chesed, ul rachamim, ul revach, Hatzalah, v'hatzlacha, bracha, vishua, nechama, parnasah, that's 10, chalkala, rachamim, chayim, shalom, v'chol tov. That is 15 different things that God is going to give to us, is going to be good for us. That's a lot of good. So this is classic. It's sort of like when we have in the Al-Chaitz, in Ashamnu, Bagadnu, Gazalnu, right? From Aleph to Tav, from A to Z, all the things. So this is kind of that sense of, it's sort of a literary device to say there's just so much good that God is going to give to us and has given to us and is giving to us right now. Right? Past, present, and future. So for the students, when I was teaching this in a college context, I asked the question, what are the good things in your life for which you might offer blessing? And part of the reason that I do that is why I wrote that is because I want the students to know that these are not just words on a page, but that they're meant to be meditative for how we're living our lives. If, all of this seems like chatter, like it's just too much, well, it's okay for you to kind of go off into your own mental space and think about goodness. When I daven the Modim prayer in the Amidah, which is all about being thankful, for all the good things, my mind always wanders. Even though I'm mumbling the words that I see on the page, my thoughts tend to move toward all the various little things that I'm grateful for. The people in my life, the house over my head, right? All the things that are a blessing in my life. When I say the Modim, every time I say it, I go there. So similarly, I think our students or anyone who's reciting Birkat Hamazon, you guys, if you when you reach this prayer and you get to the place in which you know the words well enough that you're not thinking about the words as much, and instead you're thinking about the concepts, that's when the blessing really begins. Because then you're able to truly integrate not just your knowledge base, but what it means to you. It's a higher level of application of our prayers, so that you could, it. I don't think it's always important the details of the prayer. We talk about it here as if it's important, but really, this whole prayer in my brain is about bringing goodness energy into the world, gratefulness, thankfulness. Sometimes that happens also up here when we do the Nodeh Lecha, the second paragraph. When I see that word Nodeh, which is the same word as Todah, which means thanks, my mind goes to thankfulness also. But it's just a little different. Any questions or comments about what we just looked at, this fourth paragraph? And see, and I think it's important to give headings. I think the headings are really helpful because you can kind of understand what's being said that way.
Rabbi, could you just chant this one? This is one of my favorite parts to say.
Sure.
Yeah, if you could just do it from start to finish, this one paragraph.
Sure. Baruch atah Hashem, Elokeinu melech haolam, ha'el avinu malkeinu, adirenu, boreinu, goaleinu, yotzreinu, kedoshenu, kedosh Yaakov, roenu, roe Yisrael, hamelech hatov hametiv lakol, shebechol yom vayom, hu heitiv, hu meitiv, hu yetiv lanu, hu gmalanu, hu gomlenu, hu yigmalenu la'ad. Lechenu chesed rachamim, urevachat salav atzlacha bracha, vishua nechama parnasa v'chalkala, v'rachamim v'chayim v'shalom v'chol tov, umi kol tuv leolam al yechasrenu. Well, there you have it. Next week, will we be able to do this next week? Yes, we will.
I have a question.
Yes.
Where does that melody come from?
Oh, I have no idea. Probably from Camp Ramah.
Really? Because there's something almost, it's just a sort of Western sound to it.
Yeah, see, that's why I think probably Camp Ramah. My guess is that Israelis don't know it.
Ah, okay. It's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's so fun at camp too. There's all sorts of ways in which people just get kind of nutty.
Yes, I think this is, yes. I'll tell you later.
So next week we're going to look at a little more. Now, you'll notice that one last thing I'll just say about this fourth paragraph. It does not end with a chatima. There is no Baruch Atah formula in it. And I don't know why that is, because then it's going to go straight into all of this other stuff. And nowhere do we say Baruch Atah again. So I don't really know why that is. It's something that I've just never really pursued figuring out. I probably should. So anyway, I thought we'll look at what I call the special prayers next week. We'll be able to do one. Now, I do want to make mention of the fact that this coming Saturday, I don't think I can meet, unfortunately. So we haven't met. We've had a lot of trouble with our Saturdays because life is hard on Saturdays. You're busy doing all sorts of things. This past Shabbat was the B'nai Jacob service. And so, and this one, I think I'm going to be spending my last moments with my daughter before she moves to New York, to Boston, well, to Amherst. So I hope that everyone understands it's hard to do these things. But anyway, that's the story. I appreciate all your patience.
Thank
Any
you.
other announcements before we close it out?
Can you open the Zoom room tonight for us at 10 to 7?
Sure.
Great, thank you.
Yep. You bet. All right. Avital, have a good time in San Diego with your grandchild.
Thank you. And my son and his wife.
Oh yeah, them too. They become less relevant, you know. All right.
Bye, guys.
All
Bye,
right. Thanks,
everyone.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.